According to intelligence, this new model was designed to combat all the clone models of Metal Gear floating around in the world. Ocelot sold the Metal Gear specs to anyone with hard cash after he survived Shadow Moses.
And raked in enough money to buy a decent-sized country in the process.
But was money really Ocelot's end objective?
You think he had a deeper plan?
I do. Nothing definite, but acquiring a large sum of money is always a good starting point for another project. Anyway, every country that paid off Ocelot is racing to produce its own bipedal tank, one that can launch the so-called invisible nuclear warhead. If the whole world has a Metal Gear, the military dominance of the U.S. will disappear. In a world where Metal Gear has become commonplace, the only way to regain the upper hand is to possess a weapon even more powerful than Metal Gear.
And that means a new Metal Gear.
Exactly. The arms race must go on. The Metal Gear that the tanker is transporting is being developed under Marine Corps jurisdiction. But I've also heard a rumor that the Navy is working on its own Metal Gear.
Any more info on the Navy's model?
I tried to hack some out, but security was too tight. There's a lot of money being allocated, that's for sure. But every one of my investigations takes me to one name, then hits a brick wall. The name is the Patriots.
Who are they?
I wish I knew. I have no idea if this is an individual or an organization even. But once we expose the presence of this Marine Corps Metal Gear to the world, maybe that will shake the Patriots out of the tree. This mission is partly about that too. When the photos are in, we'll put them online and blow this whole thing wide open on the web.
Don't you think that the authorities will just shut us down?
Probably, but it won't matter. There'll be mirror sites spawning within minutes after those images go up. We won't even have to ask. People will be grabbing the pictures. There's no way anyone can stop it. Information has a life of its own, and as long as it lasts, it'll keep existing, even if it has to change its form or location.
Life?
Yeah. The desire of people to learn, the demand for data.
That's called idle curiosity in my book.
Everyone's got some of that, and sometimes it can pave the way for truth. That's what I believe. I see a lifeboat. That's a fully enclosed, fire-resistant model, equipped with its own oxygen pump. Those have a water-based cooling system and self-contained air supply on board. This means that even if the boat is sealed, there would still be air available for the crew and engine operation. It automatically rights itself if it's overturned, and can withstand contact with fire for a significant period of time. But you won't be able to use that lifeboat. It's too noticeable, for one thing, and it just doesn't have the kind of speed we need. What do you think you're doing, Snake? You don't have enough to keep you busy? Try to remember the mission if you can.
This reminds me of when we first met.
I was the one inside the locker that time. We're equal now, huh?
Not unless I wet my pants.
That's a low blow, Snake. That must be the crew lounge. The tanker's crewmen would relax here when they're off shift. There's a lot of stuff there. Make sure you don't move it around too much. Someone may notice that it's been tampered with. Leave no traces. That's common sense when infiltrating a target, right? Look at the TV over there. It's showing the hold.
So that's
the new Metal Gear.
Why are they broadcasting this?
They probably want to keep a record of this exercise, and maybe give a little presentation.
Presentation?
That ship's been transmitting a live video feed via military satellite uplink for a while now.
So there's some brass out there smacking their lips over this little home movie.
I've been trying to pinpoint the receiving location, but I haven't had much luck. There's a heavy-duty firewall in the way. I'll try some more, though.
Wherever it is, it must be a warm, dry office with hot coffee on tap.
Far cry from that tanker, huh? That's what happens when the battlefield has a revolution in military affairs. Snake, how long are you gonna stand around watching TV? Get back to the mission! The plastic explosive is probably Semtex. It was developed in the former Czechoslovakia, as easy to use as C4 and just as powerful. The composition is a mix of RDX and PETN, with a detonation velocity of over 26,000 feet per second, with temperatures reaching up to 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. It was probably the explosive used in the Pan Am 103 bombing over Lockerbie in 1988.
If this much Semtex goes off at the same time, the tanker will disappear in 2 seconds flat.
Make sure it doesn't go off then. Don't trip the sensor, don't touch the Semtex.
Are they planning to take Metal Gear? and then sink the ship?
That must be the mess hall.
It's pretty small considering the size of the ship.
I guess modern tankers are so automated that you only need a crew of about 20. That's not a lot to feed. There's a lot of things there, but make sure you don't disturb anything and leave traces. The enemy might notice. So that's the Ka-60 Kasatka, a multi-purpose military helicopter built by Kamov, the Russian aerospace firm. It adapts to a variety of missions: troop and weapons transport, medevac, target marking for attack choppers, even all-weather surveillance missions. It uses Fenestron-type tail rotors. That's what makes the distinct rotor sound that you picked up. It is a Russian helicopter, but we can't be sure that the hijackers are Russian military. After all, Kamov did make a civilian version, the Ka-62. And there's also the Ka-64, the export model. This is the bridge, but it's not just a place where you steer the ship. In a modern tanker, navigational, engine control, communication, and all other major operational functions are consolidated in the bridge. The ship is autopiloted via a global positioning satellite system. This is a precision instrument we're talking about here, so it's probably best to leave it alone. Who is she anyway?
That scout knife had Spetsnaz written all over it, but...
Spetsnaz? That's the special ops of the Soviet GRU. So she must be Russian?
Who knows? All I'm sure of is that she shoots like a commando.
Be careful. The Cipher's what it looks like. A flying surveillance saucer. It's an unmanned aerial vehicle used for ground and ocean surveillance, and it also assists in communication. It can take off and land vertically, and uses a ducted airstream from its rotors and the surrounding shroud to fly. The one you saw was the type used by the Army, if I recall, but I can't see the Army officially cooperating with a top-secret Marine Corps project.
No, which means that there's someone besides us and the Russians that are interested in the new Metal Gear prototype.
Ciphers can stay airborne for about 3 hours, so there should be an integrated mobile ground station controlling its flight pattern and output nearby. It's got to be on land. I'll bet you anything it's disguised as a regular truck or something, driving along Riverside. Let me check it out.
Good call.
Didn't think Gerlukovich was involved, of all people.
Ocelot's former CO, and a man with a private army of ex-Russian military and GRU soldiers. I don't like it.
And Liquid was planning to team up with that bunch at Shadow Moses.
All he managed to do back then was to provide a toy or two. Looks like he's had enough of sponsoring insurrections.
So this time he's out here himself. I guess he's after Metal Gear?
History repeats itself. Metal Gear has enough strategic clout to upset the balance of military power overnight. He must be dreaming of Mother Russia's return to glory.
Like you said, history repeats itself. Some people never change.
Maybe it's the world that doesn't, or won't, change.
Maybe. But we're fighting to upset the status quo too, aren't we? She's not dead, is she?
No, just knocked out.
Good.
Looks like a little angel, doesn't she?
What's gotten into you?
Nothing.
Sleeping Beauty may have been awakened by Prince Charming's kiss, but you better not try it here.
I'm with you. Besides, I've had enough of tomboys.
So who was that Olga person?
Dunno. I'm guessing she's Gerlukovich's daughter. She said nomads.
Didn't she, look a little like Meryl?
I didn't notice.
What are you doing? How could you shoot someone who's unconscious? What are you, some kind of a monster? Snake, I know you're into high places, but do you think maybe you can head down into the hold sometime this year? You're here to take those photos of Metal Gear, remember? Snake, that shadow,
It's him, no doubt about it.
But Raven was, out in Shadow Moses.
I know. Maybe it's the last of his 9 lives. Or maybe his maker decided to give him another chance.
You're not serious, are you?
Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. Either way, we'll find out soon enough.
Snake, watch your step, okay? The reason the ship's drive section is in the aft area is so that more oil tanks can be fitted into the middle part. A shortened propeller axle is another benefit. The simplification of the drive structure means a greater emphasis can be placed on hull strength. The Marine Corps' defining character is that of an emergency response team in crisis situations. But the Army's been steadily enlarging its own crisis response capabilities, building on the strength of their medium brigade. Analysis is that the Marine Corps sees this as an infringement on their own domain and is more than a little alarmed. We both know that Metal Gear Rex was being developed for deployment by the Army, so it does make sense that the Marines are trying to compete with their own version of Metal Gear. Congrats, Snake. Looks like those pull-ups were worth it. Your grip strength is up.
You're currently using artificial blood primed with nanomachines.
What did you do with my own blood?
It's being kept in cold storage. It will be circulated back into your body when you return. If the life gauge drops to the red zone, you won't be able to stop the bleeding by yourself. Bloodstains can give your presence away to the enemy. Be careful. To stop the flow, select a bandage from among your items. You can also go into a crouch or crawl and stay completely still for a while. All you have to do is stop moving for a duration of time, and your nanomachines will arrange for platelets to be produced in large numbers. The bleeding will stop as a result.
Look at all these bugs. The seawater is polluted with crude oil, and yet they can still survive.
It's an altered bug that can resolve crude oil.
Altered?
Yes, through genetic engineering. It was created in the lab to combat frequent oil spills. It doesn't exist naturally. The bug is genetically altered with DNA from a bacteria called Pseudomonas, which can decompose crude oil. It has an enzyme in its body that can break up oil, and was modified so it instinctively consumes any crude oil that it absorbs. One of the reasons the Big Shell has little oil pollution is because of this bug. It also helps in reducing costs and the number of spill maintenance workers. It's a form of bioremediation. It's for the most part innocuous, so no need to be worried. Those bugs have ravenous appetites. Be careful that they don't end up eating your rations. Shake your equipment to protect the items from sea lice.
Colonel, there's a gym suit.
Looks like a high barometric pressure diving suit. By maintaining barometric pressure within the suit, it should allow its wearer to carry out work at sea depths of as much as 300 meters. But it doesn't look even remotely usable. It's a very old model.
Yeah, and it's rusted all over. It doesn't even look like it's been used.
Raiden, that diving suit doesn't look like it works. Forget about it and return to your duties.
Colonel, I remember this place.
Of course you do. This is level 1 from the VR missions.
You're right. I see it now.
You may not have field experience, but you've been trained in the hyper-reality of simulated combat. Don't give in to fear. Just do as you were trained and everything will be all right. Raiden, you won't be able to use any of the enemy's equipment.
Why not?
You should know that all active weapons are equipped with a personal identification system. The owner enters their required user ID information during the weapon registration or at the start of a mission. If anyone other than the registered user tries to fire the weapon, the ID system will not authorize the action.
But these are black market Russian weapons. How can they be equipped with identification functionality?
They must have been customized by the terrorists themselves. These are professionals we're dealing with, and they certainly won't let their own equipment be used against them.
I'm guessing it's the same for the Navy SEALs gear?
Right.
How am I supposed to procure weapons then?
Find the ones that haven't yet been individualized. Everything you find in the item box is clean. You should know this from your VR training.
Okay, I know those.
Items in the item box are yours to use at will. They will be your supply source with regards to weaponry and gear. Nodes are the terminals of the Operation Support Computer Network for the Big Shell. Of course, only Big Shell staff can gain access, with their job description determining their system authority and access. I installed a program in your nanomachines that automatically enters the passcode for unrestricted access. Press the Action button in front of the node to activate it. Use the node by pressing the Action button in front of the terminal. I see a lot of birds over there. The tanker accident 2 years ago released crude oil containing massive quantities of endocrine disruptors. The fish that absorbed them were then eaten by seagulls, which further concentrated the endocrine disruptors in their bodies. What sort of outcome this will lead to is still currently under review and is yet unclear. It just goes to show that finishing the cleanup of ocean oil spills does not mean that environmental restoration efforts end there as well.
Colonel, do you think the terrorist ringleader is really Solid Snake?
Yes, I do.
But during the Shadow Moses incident, Snake was
A hero?
Yeah.
Certainly. You went through VR training, but it is not as if the simulation is faithful to every fact. It changes people.
You too, Colonel?
Raiden, focus on the task at hand. Solid Snake is the terrorist kingpin. He is an opponent you can't underestimate. Understood? That tanker accident that happened over there 2 years ago, the tanker sank and...
I know. I went through it in VR training. The tanker didn't sink because of Snake, though.
Raiden, VR training does not exactly simulate everything with absolute fidelity.
What do you mean?
Okay, listen. Here are the facts. Known terrorist Solid Snake sank that tanker loaded with crude oil, the end result being severe environmental pollution in Manhattan Bay. Put any misperceptions of Snake as some kind of hero behind you. He is a terrorist, and that's that.
Jack, I did a search on the Big Shell. The tanker accident 2 years ago spilled a catastrophic amount of crude oil into the bay. The Big Shell is an offshore decontamination facility built to restore the Manhattan Bay environment by trapping and disposing the spilt oil. Around the perimeter of the Big Shell, oil fences were erected in order to protect against any further dispersal of the oil. You see those steeples erected here and there in the fence? Those are piles to draw up the polluted seawater. Gathered seawater is carried to the pump room in Strut A first, and all of the larger garbage is collected in sediment pool number 1 of Strut D. This is followed by a 2-step purification process in the Shell 2 core water reserve in which oil is removed by microbes. Then it is sent to Strut L and sterilized, and finally once again carried to the surface piles and flushed back into the bay.
Did the military database include information on the marine filtration facility structure as well?
No, I didn't use the database.
Huh?
I used a brochure. Strut A is a pump facility that supplies the energy to circulate the polluted water drawn from the sea throughout each of the Big Shell sections. The south side is the actual pump facility itself, while the north side is the control room.
Colonel, don't you think it's strange that the fence is missing this spot right here?
Yes, I do.
You don't think that he got away?
It's possible. Be on the alert.
Roger that.
Raiden, I see you found a weapon.
Why are there weapons here of all places? The Big Shell is supposed to be just a facility for marine filtration, right?
The terrorists probably brought it in with them.
Dunno. Looks like it's been here from before them.
What are you saying?
Raiden, there is no time for armchair theories. Concentrate on the task at hand.
Roger that.
Strut F is the storage center. I think a variety of materials for maintenance of the Big Shell are stored there. There might be something that would come in handy. Why don't you look around?
Colonel, who are Dead Cell?
They are pretty much what that guy Pliskin described them as.
A special forces unit? The brainchild of the former president?
Chances are someday we'll find ourselves in a gunfight with them.
The thought leaves me uneasy.
You have experience combating Foxhound during VR training, right? You'll be fine. Don't be apprehensive.
Jack, don't run unnecessary risks, okay?
Yeah, I don't want to, but
I know. Is there anything I can do?
yeah. Could you check for any data on them for me?
Okay, I'll do it. Good luck.
Someone mentioned the name Vamp. Do you have any info on him?
Wait a moment, I'll look.
Raiden, looks like Rosemary has something for you.
Jack, I found some information on Vamp. He's been a member of Dead Cell since it was first founded, and like Lieutenant J.G. Pliskin said, he's a master with knives. He's originally from Romania. He's apparently no ordinary knife specialist.
What do you mean?
He can parry bullets.
Yeah, I saw him do it. How the heck?
I don't know. Also, it looks like he secluded himself from other humans on several different occasions. There is no detailed information on him, though. Be careful.
Raiden, don't dwell on what Pliskin said. The VR training you underwent is the best training program there is. There is no reason to be apprehensive. Be confident. Do you understand?
Strut B is a generator facility that generates electricity for the Big Shell. The first floor is its substation.
Raiden, forget about that guy.
I think you should just let him sleep.
Return to your duties. Head for the BC connecting bridge. Be quick about it.
He's asleep? How much longer is this guy gonna sleep? Wish I were that relaxed. He's still sleeping.
Liquid!
Huh?
Raiden, I'm on your side.
Raiden, what reason could you have to shoot someone while they are sleeping?
I can't believe you. And he was on our side, right?
I strongly disapprove. Hurry up and return to your duties.
Colonel, do the terrorists have a Harrier?
Yes, an AV-8B Harrier II designed for the Marines. It is a V-STOL attack aircraft outfitted with a 25mm gun, air-to-air missiles, and anti-ground rockets. It's not something you want to try to take on in a SEAL helicopter.
Yeah, even more so if unprotected. Colonel, where did they get such a weapon?
I don't know.
Are they really just run-of-the-mill terrorists?
Relax, Raiden. Right now, just think about your mission at hand. Do you understand?
Colonel, who exactly is that woman?
Her name is Fortune. She leads Dead Cell.
Hang on a moment. I'll look her up for you.
Rosemary researched Fortune for you.
Jack, here's the data I found on Fortune. She goes by Fortune. She leads Dead Cell. Her real name is Helena Dolph Jackson. 2 years ago, her father, Commandant of the Marine Corps Scott Dolph, was killed in a training accident. Her husband was the former Dead Cell leader, Colonel Jackson. Died in captivity, my data says. After her husband's death, she joined the military. She didn't have any combat experience, but was soon singled out for a particular trait and was reassigned to Dead Cell.
What trait?
Luck. She was real lucky, like miraculously lucky. Wherever she went, bullets curved away, and missions always ended in success.
Is that some kind of joke?
I thought so too, but there is not a single record of her ever being wounded, not even a scratch. Jack, be careful, please. Strut C is the residential area. It supports life at sea for all of the workers on the big shell. That being said, almost all systems are completely automated, so there aren't many workers to be found.
Raiden, what are you looking at? Oh, I see. Rosemary,
What?
could you excuse him for a moment?
Huh?
You know, so he can...
Ah, I get it. Jack, let me know when you're done, okay?
Raiden, I didn't know you had such weird interests. Not that there's anything wrong with that, though. Just that, well, it's a little weird.
Jack, I think that's a little weird.
Raiden, what are you doing there? With that?
I don't believe it. What are you thinking? Enduring your duties?
I highly disapprove.
Even though every one of us is scrambling to do our best to support you, this? And what exactly are you going to do? Drool over pictures of voluptuous girls?
Exactly.
At least use a picture of me instead.
What?
I mean,
I completely disapprove.
I can't believe you, Jack. Do you know what that place is?
I just thought maybe the bomb disposal instructor might be in there.
Why would he be in there?
Well, you never know. He's AWOL and...
Even AWOL, a normal guy wouldn't go into a woman's bathroom. You're the only one I know who would. You're like really strange.
Rosemary, settle down.
But
It's all right. Raiden, Rosemary is right. You should probably look someplace else. I can really sympathize with you there, though.
what, sir?
Nothing. Raiden, that's that. Return to your duties.
You guys are unbelievable.
Raiden,
Jack, give it a rest. I can't bear watching you do that.
I disapprove. Return to your duties. That's what I feel like saying, but I'm beginning to feel like putting you in charge was not such a good idea. Raiden, I'm at a loss for words.
I'm afraid to ask. Do you do that in my room too?
Raiden, that's long enough. Hurry up and get back to your duties if you've seen enough.
Jack, in retrospect, I'm really glad that I took this assignment.
Huh?
It's given me a chance to see you for who you really are. Goodbye. So, Jack, what do you want?
What do I want? Well, I'd like to save, if that's okay.
Then go ahead.
This is a joke, right? Rose.
What now?
What do you mean, what now? Save my data, please.
Fine. Don't you have something you want to say before that?
Like what? All right, I get it. I'm sorry. There. You satisfied?
Close enough.
You selfish.
What was that?
Nothing. Just talking to myself.
Ryden, Stillman is a top-notch explosives technician. Follow his orders and disarm the explosives.
Okay, but exactly who is Peter Stillman?
Gotcha. I'll look him up. Hold on a moment.
Colonel, do you really think they'll blow up the big shell?
It's highly possible. We'll have to listen to their demands in full. They are pros. They won't hesitate to take the upper hand if they see an opening.
Do you plan on meeting their demands?
Absolutely not. You're the only person I can depend on. You must remove the explosives quickly. If the big shell explodes, massive quantities of chlorinated chemicals used in killing marine bacteria will go up in flames along with the crude oil. If that happens, expect a large amount of harmful chemical substances, including dioxins, to be released into the atmosphere. Dioxins are common nomenclature for polychlorinated dibenzodioxin and polychlorinated dibenzofuran. They are organic chloride compounds that are highly acute and toxic, and are powerful chemicals that can cause cancer, genetic disorders, and birth defects. On top of that, they do not decompose easily, nor dissolve in water, making it easy for them to accumulate within the bodies of living organisms. The environmental impact on the bay and coastal area ecosystem would be unfathomable. Environmental restoration would likely require several generations. That is why we cannot allow them to blow up the big shell. Ryden, you must disarm the C4.
Tell me what you know about Fat Man.
Okay, hold on a minute. I'll look him up.
Tell me a little more about Dead Cell.
Dead Cell was a shadow unit within the SEALs organization.
Right. They handled surprise raids on vital government facilities, didn't they?
Yes. They were originally put together to check the nation's military security system. The unit was the brainchild of ex-President George Sears. Dead Cell was a secret unit positioned at the opposite end of anti-terrorist outfits such as Delta Force and SEALs.
Were they always a...
Group of madmen?
Yeah.
No. They got weird when Colonel Jackson, Fortune's husband, was sent to jail.
Sent to jail? For what?
Corruption. He misappropriated government funds.
Sounds like he deserved it.
That's what everybody else thought, except for the members of Dead Cell. They felt the colonel was falsely accused. Fact is, they took the case to the powers that be, but they never managed to reopen the case.
Was there any truth to their claim?
Who knows? Whatever the situation is, Dead Cell's name was tainted.
And Colonel Jackson?
He was being held at Leavenworth.
Was? Meaning he's been released?
Well, in a manner of speaking, the colonel's dead.
Oh.
Apparently, he lost the will to live and died in prison. The members of Dead Cell snapped with the loss of their leader. They underwent a radical change and became uncontrollable.
And that's why they undertook this terrorist operation.
Seems as good a reason as any. Vamp is a member of Dead Cell. Born in Romania, his specialty is knives. But I guess you know that by now. When he was just a kid, he lost his family to a terrorist bomb that went off in a church they were attending. His body pierced by a crucifix, Vamp was buried under the rubble for 2 days before he was finally rescued. During those 2 days, he survived by feeding on the blood of his family to quench his thirst. That was how he acquired a taste for blood.
So that's why they call him Vamp.
No, Vamp isn't for vampire, it's because he's bisexual. Rumor has it, Vamp was the lover of Scott Dolph, the Marine Commandant who accidentally died 2 years ago. Scott Dolph was also the father of Fortune, the Dead Cell leader.
Fortune's old man? But Fortune and Vamp?
You noticed, eh? Not bad for a rookie.
All right.
As you say, Vamp and Fortune are very close. Not lovers, but very close.
Friends?
No, there's more to their relationship than that.
But Vamp was her father's lover.
Would it have been better if it was with her mother?
Well,
I don't really think they care what you think. Focus on the mission.
by the way, have you ever met the guy before?
No.
But he seemed to know you.
Right. Well, No, it can't be.
What?
Nothing. I told you the Dead Cell is a group of madmen. I wouldn't take anything they say very seriously.
What do you know about that strange woman?
You mean Fortune? She's the Dead Cell leader. Her real name is Helena Dolph Jackson, known to her friends as Lady Luck.
Lady Luck?
Yeah, she got the name because bullets seemed to veer away from her in battle.
Oh.
People have heard her say that her fortune in battle was payback for the lousy luck she's had in life.
Lousy luck?
The death of her father, the Marine commander, the conviction of husband and Dead Cell leader Colonel Jackson. These events were followed by her mother's suicide, the loss of a husband, and the idea of a convict in the family apparently took her over the edge. Fortune was 3 months pregnant at the time, and the shock of her mother's death led to the loss of her child. Add to this her husband's death in prison a few months later, and to sum it up, in the 6 months after her father's death, she lost her family and everything that mattered in her life.
Jeez, she's had it rough.
Yeah, the thing is, she didn't grieve long. Instead, she joined the military.
Now why is that?
Do I look psychic? My best guess is revenge. I heard that she firmly believed that her husband was framed. Anyway, by the time she came out of basic training, she'd proven many times over that she was gifted with an unusual streak of luck. In fact, some say she sold her soul for it.
Her soul?
Her uncanny luck earned her a reputation that led to her appointment as the head of her husband's unit, Dead Cell. Fat Man. Supposedly, he's nicknamed after an atomic bomb, but to me, he's just a fat man. Something straight out of a sideshow. If he even has a bit of spare time, he spends it disassembling and assembling his Glock over and over again. He can't stand to have his hands still. He's extremely vain about his hands, keeps his fingers as slender and soft as a woman's. They say he's always looking at his hands, giving himself manicures.
Pliskin, what do you know about Stillman?
He's a bomb disposal expert, probably the best in the world.
What else?
What do you mean?
Like why he retired?
Are you here to gossip?
No.
Then get back to work defusing those C4s. If there's something you need to know about Stillman, go ask him yourself.
Pliskin, SEAL Team 10's Bravo team's been wiped out.
Is that right?
Is that all you have to say? I thought they were your comrades.
Yeah, too bad.
Too bad. Did you know they were used as a decoy to support my infiltration?
No, but it doesn't surprise me.
Man, you are cold. They were your friends.
What do you want me to say? That you killed them? Or do you want me to say it wasn't your fault?
I just...
Listen, kid, I don't have time to wet nurse you, or provide you with a shoulder to cry on. You got a problem with your conscience, you take care of it. Don't bother me.
Pliskin, you seemed pretty focused on the Navy captain. Something catch your eye?
Yeah, remember the handcuffs were cut? There was something on the other end of that.
Do you know what it was?
Well, No, forget it.
What do you mean, forget it?
Just what I said. Forget it. Talk to you later, kid.
Hey, Pliskin, were you really a SEAL?
That's what I told you.
But
what?
Nothing.
Listen, kid, you're on a mission. Thinking about anything else can get you killed. Raiden, where are you? What are you embarrassed about? You're on a mission. Anything goes.
Pliskin.
I've snuck into similar places in the past myself.
Huh?
Raiden, I've frozen the first bomb. How are you doing?
Nothing yet.
Pliskin, what was the exact location of the explosive?
The heliport. It was behind some cargo. Thought I was gonna have some trouble with the patrols, but it was an easy job.
I see.
What's the matter?
Nothing really. Pliskin, just don't let your guard down. Don't relax even after you think you've defused it.
I know that. Raiden, Shell 1's all yours.
Sure. About this bomb, it's been placed in a somewhat strange location.
Agreed. It doesn't make sense. Not for him, anyway.
You sound like you've got everything figured out.
That's because I do. I know exactly how his mind works.
Stillman, tell me something about Fat Man.
Well, to start, he was born the son of a clockmaker, neglected by his parents and without friends. It seems that he spent a lot of time by himself in his father's workshop. Maybe that was the reason, I'm not sure, but apparently he has had a tremendous fascination with clock mechanics since he was a child. It was at the age of 10 that a guidebook that he found on the internet changed his life forever. That guidebook served as the basis of his eventually piecing together an atomic bomb. It was from there that he came to be known as Fat Man. And soon enough, there was no one associated with bombs that didn't know his name. In a sense, Fat Man was a hero. Although what he did was recognized only by those in the trade, I'm sure that it served to greatly stir the ego of the teenage boy at the center of it all. But he leaves his mark nowhere else. Apparently, he was hated and shunned by everyone in school. So he went on to focus all his energy on explosives. He scorned the reality that surrounded him and instead chose to embrace a world that would easily grant him recognition. Well, to be sure, it never amounted to anything more than, say, occasionally bringing a gun into school. Eventually, Fat Man came to Indian Head, the exercise training facilities of the Naval School Explosive Ordnance Disposal at which I was a lecturer. He absorbed all kinds of knowledge, as if he hungered for bombs. Close to 20% of the students at Indian Head flunk out of what is truly a hellish curriculum. Despite this environment, he achieved extraordinarily high marks that were without precedent. After leaving Indian Head, he joined up with Nest, said to be the most accomplished bomb disposal unit. It was there that he apparently got into some trouble.
What exactly?
You got me, but Fat Man was definitely not cut out for group operations from the very start. Having been ousted from Nest, he was picked up by Dead Cell, which was already becoming notorious for being a motley crew of sorts. It seems that it was through surprise attack maneuvers later conducted by Dead Cell that Fat Man completely subdued his former companions from Nest. While being the most peculiar individual among my students, he was also the most talented. Be sure not to underestimate him. Are we clear?
Stillman, I heard you made quite a name for yourself in the bomb disposal field.
Nothing of the sort. It's only that you never hear people badmouth retirees.
Why did you retire?
I forgot. At any rate, rather than dwelling on past occurrences, shouldn't we focus on taking care of the pressing issue currently at hand?
True enough. I'll get back to work. Stillman, are you all right over there?
Yeah, no problem.
You must be bored.
Hardly. Between dealing with you guys and calibrating this, I've got my hands full.
What did you say?
Nothing. Look, it's just that it would be best if we didn't have to use this. Anyway, get to those bombs. By the way, Wrighton, did you happen to see the technician that came down along with me?
No, I didn't.
I see.
Wait, Stillman, is that guy really...
Ryden,
What?
disposing of the C4 is our first priority. There's no time. Get back to the task at hand.
Right. Gotcha.
Looks like Pliskin shouldn't be having any problems. You'd better look sharp as well.
Stillman, do you really believe that Pliskin is not a member of SEAL Team 10?
He's probably not.
Then exactly what is he?
I'm not sure. But there are other things that I am sure of.
Like what?
Like that I can believe in him, that's what. There's something about him. A certain something that's found only in men of strength, trustworthiness, and reliability.
I see. Anyway, I'm getting back to the mission.
What you see flying before you is a Cipher. It's a saucer-type UAV for surveillance and communication support of land and marine operations. It may look strange, but it's very stable. The Cipher is capable of vertical takeoffs and landings in tight areas measuring as small as 3.5 meters. Also, it features a fully autonomous system that allows for tracking and analysis of man-sized targets. You can confuse the Cipher's sensors with chaff. This not only blocks its movement, but also prevents data transmission to its controller.
Colonel, do you know anything about Mr. X?
He is not a member of the Foxhound unit.
He called himself Deep Throat, almost like he was the Shadow Moses.
Ryden, I know what you're trying to say, but that possibility is nil.
Jack, I'll look into it for you. Hold on a moment.
Pliskin, there are landmines in this area.
There should be a mine detector in strut F.
How do you know?
Use your head. They can't see those claymore mines either, even if they did the planting, so they need to keep a mine detector handy.
I wouldn't have thought of that. You're right.
I don't think they taught you this in all that VR training, but intuition counts for something in battle. Use your wits and senses to detect the danger. Got it?
Colonel, what do you know about that female soldier, Olga?
Olga Gerlukovich. Just like that guy said, she commands a Russian private army.
Do you know anything else?
Anything else?
Yeah, anything else?
Why are you concerned about her anyway?
You know.
Jack?
No, it's not like that.
I'm joking. I'll look into her for you. Good luck.
Ryden, Rosemary has some information to report.
I looked into Mr. Peter Stillman's file. Full name is Peter Stillman, known as Pegleg Peter. He is a legendary bomb disposal technician. He is also a longtime instructor at the Naval School Explosive Ordnance Disposal and a consultant for the NYPD bomb squad. But 5 years ago, he lost his leg in an accident. And since then, he hung up his gloves to focus on being a lecturer. He He was called back into service because, as he said, he is the only explosive specialist who can stop Fat Man. Although no longer an active consultant, he is still without a doubt the #1 guy when it comes to disarming explosives. He should be very helpful to you.
Rosemary has completed her data search.
I looked up information on Fat Man. Fat Man, the emperor of explosives. You've already heard how he manufactured an atomic bomb at the age of 10. He appears to have been known throughout the world of explosives since he was a child. He entered the Naval School Explosive Ordnance Disposal at Indian Head and graduated at the top of his class. That's around the time that he met Stillman. He was assigned to the Nuclear Emergency Search Team. He quit soon after, though. After that, he joined Dead Cell as an explosive specialist. He's been there ever since.
Rosemary has dug up some information on Mr. X.
Jack, I looked into Mr. X. I mean Deep Throat. During the Shadow Moses incident, Solid Snake did receive help from a guy who called himself Deep Throat. His true identity appears to be that of former Foxhound Unit member Gray Fox.
Gray Fox, huh?
Correct. His real name is Frank Yeager, the only member of Foxhound allowed to use the title of Fox. He was its best member. In Outer Heaven, he holed up in the stronghold ahead of Snake. He helped him and brought an end to the standoff. But in Zanzibar, he joined forces with Big Boss and became the leader of the upheaval. That's where he fought and lost to Snake. Fox was mortally injured and was picked up by the military. After that, it looks like he was used as the guinea pig in power exoskeleton and gene therapy experiments.
Power exoskeleton?
Cyborg ninjas, as some people called them. Detailed records were lost in the research center fire, though.
After that, he ended up in Shadow Moses?
Yes, but why he showed up there is not in the records. Some people believe that it was to get revenge against Snake, but there is nothing definite to go by.
So now he's...
No, he died in Shadow Moses. That is for sure.
So then who is Mr. X?
I don't know, but be careful.
Ryden, Rosemary has something to report.
Jack, I looked into that guy a few minutes ago wearing a cardboard box, but...
Did you find anything?
No, there is no corresponding data in the files for neither Dead Cell nor Colonel Gerlukovich's private army.
How about as a surviving member of SEAL Team 10?
Of course I looked into that possibility too, but...
You didn't find anything?
No, I'm sorry I couldn't be of any help.
Wonder who the heck he was.
Ryden, be on the lookout. Ryden, I trust that you don't actually believe what that guy Pliskin told you, right?
I believe him. There's something about him, like an iron will. Enough to trust.
Ryden. He's not included in the simulation. Don't trust him, ever. You got it?
Roger that.
Ryden, don't ever turn your back on that Olga woman. Olga Gerlukovich, daughter of Colonel Sergei Gerlukovich, ex-GRU and former Spetsnaz commander. She's the leader of Colonel Gerlukovich's private army that's been wandering around the Big Shell. Those men were gathered by Colonel Gerlukovich. Following his death, she inherited his command and now exercises full control. Her father's name was widely respected throughout the old Soviet regime, and he was the goal of just about every military man.
Why would a respected soldier become a leader of those cutthroats?
The collapse of the Republic resulted in a lot of unemployed soldiers. Most found themselves suddenly cast out into the civilian world, hopelessly lost. The colonel took these men in. He organized a mercenary army and led his men from battle to battle in various disputed regions around the world, hoping that one day he would rebuild his homeland. Rumor has it that during the Shadow Moses incident, he planned a rendezvous with Liquid Snake's men and assist in their uprising. I assume that the revolt figured into his reconstruction plans for the Soviet regime. I also heard that Ocelot, Liquid's right-hand man, was an old friend of the colonel's back in the old days of the Soviet Union. In any case, Olga inherited her father's military genius and has become a force to be reckoned with. She was born and raised on the battlefield, and she's as tough as she looks. Not my ideal choice for a date.
You sound like you've met her.
No, I haven't had the pleasure. Just remember what I said. Don't turn your back on her.
Ryden, Rosemary did a bit of research on that female soldier.
Olga Gerlukovich. She's the daughter of former GRU Colonel Sergei Gerlukovich. After the Federation collapsed, the colonel apparently commanded a group of mercenaries that drifted between area conflicts and civil wars. After he died, it looks like she took over control of the group. She has more notches on her gun than you do. Underestimating her prowess will get you hurt. Be careful.
Stillman, how you feeling?
All right. It's been a while since I've run, though.
Guess that means it's also been a while since you've run out of breath, huh?
Are you accusing me of something writing?
No, I didn't mean anything by it.
No, I should be condemned.
Wait, everybody makes mistakes.
But it's the reasons behind those mistakes that become the real issue.
What do you mean?
The reason that bomb exploded, and the reason that I was saved, is because I was confronted by fear and I couldn't handle it. Halfway through disposing of the bomb, I succumbed to that fear. And when I realized what was going on, I had turned around and was running away from the bomb. The one who paid the price, however, wasn't me. After I regained consciousness from the shock of the blast, the first thing that my eyes met were the corpses of children crushed under a pile of rubble.
Stillman.
Yet, what do you think I felt at that time? A sense of relief. Relieved that it wasn't me.
Oh.
That's not all. At the time, I was known as the top bomb disposal technician in the United States. Now, to someone like me, who had neither a wife nor children, that reputation was everything. I didn't want to lose it. That's why I lied about losing my leg. Ran away from the responsibility that was mine. Closed my eyes to the victims. Stirred up the sympathy of the public.
All right, Stillman, that's enough. For now, let's just worry about what we're going to do about Fat Man's bombs.
Yeah. Is that you writing? I haven't reached strut 8 yet.
Stillman, do you really think there are bombs that the sensor's not picking up?
Right. Sealing the entire casing of the bomb prevents the odor from leaking outside. It's a technique that I, for one, didn't teach.
But wasn't leaving a signature of sorts Fat Man's aesthetic touch?
Perhaps this Fat Man is not the one I knew.
What?
Fat Man right now is fragile and weak. What's more, he's dangerous. Watch yourself, okay?
Raiden, how is Pliskin doing?
Looks like he's doing fine.
Stillman said it too. There's something strange about that guy. Don't let your guard down. Understood?
Strut D is sediment pool number 1. It's a facility where extracted polluted water is stored without being disturbed, so that its large pollutants settle and are purged from it.
Stillman, how are you doing over there?
I'm checking it now. It just can't simply be a bomb that doesn't respond to an odor. There must be something else planted there.
Exactly what is it?
I'm not certain. Give me a little more time.
Raiden, your grip has gotten stronger. Guess your hard work has paid off.
Jack, you're great!
Raiden, your grip went up again.
Jack, you're truly amazing.
Colonel, Stillman is dead.
I know. Pull yourself together, Raiden.
I can't do this alone.
Jack, are you listening? All right, calm down.
Stillman is dead. There are no more explosive specialists.
You're fine. I won't let you die.
Rose.
All right then. Is Sensor B equipped?
Yes.
See if it responds or not. Jack, no matter what, you have to bring an end to this crisis.
Okay.
Raiden, Rose did a bit of research on Fortune's weapon.
The big rifle that she carries appears to be a personal railgun.
Railgun?
Yes, an electromagnetic gun that fires bullets with magnetic force. As a movable conductor, it uses plasma electrons to boost acceleration capabilities. The kinetic energy of the ammunition is approximately 10 megajoules. Incidentally, that of a 140mm smooth bore gun ammunition is 20 megajoules.
I can't believe something like that even exists.
It's not available, though. What she has is only a prototype.
That thing sure doesn't sound like a prototype.
Problems with the rail plasma and inner rail electromagnetic release have yet to be solved. Evaluations exist that criticize it as unacceptable as a field weapon because of the high risk of accidental discharge.
But hers doesn't?
Most likely, probably because she's lucky.
Unbelievable.
Either way, it's a weapon that she alone can wield, that's for sure.
Yeah, and a weapon that's uncontrollable, too.
Be very careful, Jack.
Batman is wearing a bomb blast suit. It is worn when disarming explosives and protects its wearer from the blast, heat, and shards. Essentially, it resembles a bulletproof vest made out of special material. The front of the head and body are guarded by a laminated ballistic insert The back, too, is guarded with a protector to ease the impact on the spine from a fall after a blast. Attacks to his torso will likely have little effect. At first, it might look to be cumbersome, but in fact, it is made to be extremely flexible so as not to hinder bomb disposal. One could even do apparatus gymnastics, like the pommel horse or parallel bars in it. The problem is that it is poorly ventilated, and having it on for long periods of time runs the risk of leaving its wearer mildly overheated. However, the suit is equipped with a cooling system like a spacesuit, in which the coolant is run through inner suit tubes. He will not likely overheat in the suit. With those configurations, however, the total weight of the suit should exceed 50 kilograms. That's too heavy for skating around. An impact might easily make him lose his balance, and he'll fall down. Shooting a part of the suit with a gun will do minimal damage at best. Aim for exposed areas of his head. If he falls down, when he tries to get up, is your best chance. Batman carries a Glock 18, a fully automatic version of the Glock 17 pistol. It can fire 29mm bullets per second. Getting caught in its line of fire is extremely dangerous.
Weren't machine pistols originally used for VIP security assignments, though? In order to stop terrorists?
Correct. As portable weapons with major firepower.
That he would have such a gun and use it with only one hand.
Don't forget, he's a member of Dead Cell. What's more, he walks around wearing that suit. He must have a lot of faith in his own strength. Don't engage him in a firefight from the front. Attack him when he reloads. Raiden, the bomb?
Nothing yet.
Where is that damn thing? We're running out of time.
Have you checked under Fat Man's body?
What? Of course not. It can't be there.
You don't know that.
Okay, what evidence do you have that it's there?
Just a hunch, all right?
Look, Rose, I know what I'm doing, and this is my life on the line. You don't have any experience in this type of work, so
Raiden, don't turn down a good suggestion when you hear one. Check it out.
Jack,
what?
you know what I'm talking about.
All right. The bomb was where you guessed it would be. You were right, and you saved my butt.
As long as you realize that.
I was pretty surprised, though. I never expected to find it where I did.
You must think I'm pretty clueless, huh?
Of course not. And I have a pretty healthy respect for the woman's intuition thing now.
That is such a sexist thing to say, you know that?
Come on, don't be mad. I apologized already.
Don't sweat it. I'm just messing with you. I want you to recognize that I can help you through this thing, and that I care about you.
Rose?
Hang in there, okay?
Colonel, Pliskin wasn't killed.
You look happy, Jack.
Yeah.
Raiden, don't trust him.
What?
Don't you think it's suspicious that he alone came out unscathed? Things don't add up. Raiden, don't put any faith in that guy. You will carry out your mission alone. Do you understand?
The Strut E roof functions as a heliport, while inside it serves as an aerial transport hub for materials to each of the other struts. Because its sea entrances are cut off by oil fences, there is hardly any transportation of goods into the big shell by seafaring vessels. Almost all of the materials brought in are via the roof heliport.
Colonel, who's that person Ames?
I checked the roster of Secret Service members serving the president. There was definitely a person on the list named Ames.
So what that ninja said then was not a lie after all.
As far as the roster goes, no. Rose, do you have any other information?
All right, I'll look into it for you.
I'm counting on you. Colonel, the stories about a metal gear within the big shell?
That is still being looked into.
Sorry, Jack.
And stories that the big shell is just a cover.
Well, every record I've looked through only ever has it as a legitimate offshore decontamination facility. On paper, it's clean.
So you're saying that we have no choice but to talk to Ames or whoever else? Pliskin, do you read me?
What's up, Raiden?
I just ran into a guy decked out like a ninja.
A ninja?
Yeah. Do you know anything about this?
No. Can you trust that costumed freak?
I don't know. But the colonel told me to follow the guy's instructions.
And like a good soldier, you'll do it, right? I'll let you in on a little secret, kid. The ninja that was publicized in the Shadow Moses incident no longer exists. The guy you met has no connection whatsoever with the incident.
And how do you know that?
Because I do.
Huh?
Just be careful who you trust, okay?
Pliskin, do you know anything about a Secret Service agent named Ames?
Ames?
You've heard of him?
No.
Listen, If you know anything...
No, I got the name mixed up with someone else. Forget it.
Raiden, Rosemary has a report for you on Ames.
Jack, it's about Ames.
Did you find anything?
Yeah, only that there's nothing to find.
What?
There is not a single record, let alone his social security number, address, or background. I couldn't even find Ames' gender, age, or full name.
What does that mean?
All I found out was Ames. Just that one word.
Even still, Ames is our way to the president. We'll have to make contact. Head for floor B1 in the core of Shell 1. If you make physical contact with the enemy while in disguise, the disguise will be deselected. Keep that in mind.
That uniform's probably not even close to your size.
Yeah, to tell you the truth, it feels pretty tight.
It's probably a better fit for Rosemary here than you.
Excuse me?
Colonel?
Just an observation. Let's get back to the mission, shall we?
That was inappropriate. The Shell 1 core is what its name implies, the center of the big shell. The first basement floor is a capacious meeting hall. I'm sure that's where they held the welcome reception for the president and the Environmental Protection Inspection Team. But its core function is concentrated in the second basement floor computer room. This computer room is where the flow of polluted water and the status of filtration is observed, in addition to being where all tasks for other facilities are carried out. I can understand why security is so tight.
Colonel, what's this door?
I don't know.
It's huge. What the hell is it? It's not in our intel.
Raiden, we have no way at the moment to open that door. Leave it alone and proceed with the mission. Understood? There's a desk that stands out.
It's awfully customized.
What kind of dork brings all this stuff to work? Must be a super freak. What's that bird?
Parrot, isn't it?
Probably a large budgie. Parakeets get used to humans easily and are talkative, so they are real playful and fun. Hurts when they bite, though, and keeping their cage clean is quite a task. Having one isn't all fun and games.
You sure know a lot about parakeets.
I had my own once.
I didn't know that.
I never mentioned it?
No, this is the first time.
Really?
Yeah, there's probably a lot of other things that I don't know about you yet.
Yeah, actually, well, there's a lot more.
Rose?
Jack,
What?
after this mission is over, let's talk about lots of things.
Yeah, let's.
Good luck.
That area is the hall. Looks like there's going to be a presidential welcome reception.
You mean we're gonna come flying in and crash that party?
Looks like there's a lot of stuff laying about. Make sure not to scatter it around. The enemy will increase their security if they discover anything out of place.
Don't worry, I'm used to cleaning things up. Rose's room is...
Jack, don't say any more.
fine.
Anyway, the key element of covert operations is not to leave anything behind. Understand? Raiden, what are you doing? You forget yourself.
I can't believe you. What's wrong with you?
I highly disapprove.
Just...
What do you mean, I'm just?
Rosemary, you're right. One shouldn't stoop to vulgar levels just because they've set foot on the battlefield. But I can sympathize with you there.
You what?
Nothing.
How twisted, the both of you. Jack, what the hell are you doing? You are sick, you know?
Rosemary,
Colonel, was I wrong in what I did?
perhaps. There are certain things that a person can and can't do.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Come out of this thing alive, both for yourself and so as not to waste your training.
No need to tell me that, Colonel.
Right. And I recommend you not throw away that picture.
Colonel?
What?
You're not joking. Are you?
Continue your duties. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Raiden, you appear to be enjoying yourself slapping around defenseless hostages.
I can't believe you. I didn't think you were the kind of person to do such a thing.
Good thing you saw him for what he really was, huh, Rosemary?
Yeah, I don't know this person anymore. Goodbye.
Raiden, rescue the president. Head for the first floor of the Shell 2 core.
Colonel, is the president one of them? Ames said that the president entered the code with his own free will.
But you heard how they are planning to get rid of the president, right?
Yeah?
They are going their separate ways?
No. First off, the president is not necessarily extra baggage for the terrorists. If you have your doubts, you should address them when you meet him.
Roger that. Do you think Ames was telling the truth about the football?
Rosemary?
Roger that. Jack, I'll look into it for you.
Colonel, apparently Ames didn't even know that the hostages were killed in retaliation for SEAL Team 10's incursion.
Yeah, the hostages were probably in a different room. Raiden, focus on your duties. For right now, concentrate on rescuing the president. Head for the first floor of Shell 2's core.
Colonel, I saw the terrorist leader. Is that Solid Snake?
Yes, he's the terrorist who sunk the tanker 2 years ago. Raiden, do you think he's some kind of hero? You heard him, right? Solid Snake is a terrorist. You must fight him. Do you understand?
Colonel, the outer heaven that Snake mentioned?
Ah, yes. It is a despotic military state, built by a guy called Big Boss, the greatest soldier in history, and Snake's father, genetically speaking.
He tried to restart it?
I don't know, but word has it that his brother Liquid Snake hoped for an outer heaven also. It might have had some special significance for the two brothers.
That ninja helped me again. Do you have any information on him?
Sorry, I've looked around, but nothing.
I don't know what he wants, but he is trying to help you, that much is certain. Don't let your guard down, though. Raiden, Rosemary has completed her search.
Jack, I found data on the briefcase used to unlock the nuclear launch codes. It appears to be a fail-safe system using the president's DNA base order and input of his physiological data as its key. The lock is said to be impenetrable.
In other words, the president himself is the only one who can enter the password.
Right. On top of that, as Ames mentioned before, the password becomes invalid when the president's brainwaves, heartbeat, etc. are not within normal limits.
So the president entered that code by his own free will after all. But why would the US president lend a hand to terrorists?
How should I don't have information like that.
Yeah, I guess you wouldn't.
Also, it seems that the need to reconfirm the code after a set amount of time is true.
Meaning that the president is safe, right? How about the story of the black case also serving as the launch key to a new model of Metal Gear?
That wasn't in the records.
Stories of a new Metal Gear model aside, it is certain that they have finished inputting the code and are trying to launch the nuclear warhead. Meet with the president and ascertain the truth. Hurry! You must meet with him while he's still alive.
The reinforcements that rush up whenever you're discovered by the enemy are the President's Special Security Unit. They are the cream of the Secret Service and have previously served as members of CAT, the Counter-Assault Team, which is part of the Presidential Security Force. These guys have seen more action than you'll ever see in a lifetime. Their equipment is based on the Land Warrior system, which has been an Army development project over the last century. You've been with Force 21, so you should know what I'm talking about. It's the latest infantry equipment enhanced with advanced data communication and processing features. The system is designed to treat each infantry soldier as a single terminal in a network. The helmet has a mounted display that provides everything from sensor and map updates to directives and commands from a command outpost. Through a data link, the soldier is also provided with video and graphic information such as current location, including the placement of friendly units and rendezvous points. Also included with the package are various targeting systems, biosensors, GPS receiving units, and the latest data processing equipment.
If I remember right, didn't the Army have a problem finding a battery with enough longevity to power the equipment?
That's right. But the development of a sealed membrane battery capable of withstanding the wear and tear of combat situations solved that problem, making the system practical. On top of that, the weight of all this equipment is no longer a problem, thanks to the DARPA-developed exoskeleton technology with human strength amplification capabilities. A soldier may look slow and clumsy in all this equipment, but don't let that fool you. Former members of the President's Special Security Unit are equipped with ceramic-plated armor. Attacking any spot other than the head is pretty much a waste of time. For results, go for the head. Actually, the best course for survival is to avoid any direct confrontation with these guys.
Have you ever heard of Outer Heaven?
Outer Heaven?
Yeah. Know anything?
No. What about it?
The terrorist leader mentioned it. Something about being close to reviving Outer Heaven.
Is that right?
Well, do you know anything?
No, but whatever their goal is, they're probably up to no good. We've got to stop them.
Yeah, right.
The stuff used in that trap is Semtex. It's a plastic explosive like C4. Developed in former Czechoslovakia, the stuff was called the terrorist C4 back in the Cold War days. Made from RDX and PETN, Semtex is easy to handle and very powerful. The stuff can devastate an area. Whatever you do, don't get caught in its explosion.
The Harrier II is an upgraded version of the world's first practical V-stall fighter plane. By shifting the propulsion of the engine nozzles on the sides, the plane can handle short-distance vertical takeoffs and landings. The payload capacity of the Harrier II is considerably larger than its predecessor due to improved engine output. As a result, it carries more armament, starting with a 25mm machine gun pod on the fuselage pylon. There are air-to-surface rockets on both wings and various pods for air-to-air missiles and cluster bombs. You won't be able to take out one of these with small arms fire. The fact is, you'll need to use Stinger missiles. The Harrier II is equipped with AMRAAM mid-range air-to-air missiles. The AMRAAM is an active homing missile designed to succeed the Sparrow. On the final phase of its guided approach to a target, the missile locks onto the objective with an active seeker and goes into full autonomous flight mode. In short, the AMRAAM is a missile with fire-and-forget capability. This aspect of the missile makes it ideal for fire-and-run tactics, significantly improving the mission survival rate of the firing aircraft. With a high-performance active seeker, the AMRAAM is extremely functional. Once fired, it pretty much zeroes in on its target with deadly accuracy.
And how do you avoid one of these?
I recommend chaff grenades. The AMRAAM's been reinforced against ECMs. In fact, the missile's been designed to home in on the source of electronic countermeasures. But that only applies to air combat. It's highly unlikely that the missile's equipped for tracking human targets with any precision. You should be able to sufficiently throw an AMRAAM off course with a chaff grenade. The minute you see one launched, break out the grenade. We're currently aboard a Ka-60 Kasaka helicopter, a multi-purpose military aircraft of the Russian Kamov Design Bureau. This copter is capable of handling various missions, including troop and supply transport, medical evacuation, target acquisition for attack copters, and all-weather scouting. Equip it with the latest avionics and electronic equipment, and the Kasaka can handle communication and electronic jamming, as well as other special operations. The copter's designed for survival in combat, and the main systems are expandable. The rotors are capable of functioning if they've been punctured. In addition, the Kasaka features a polyurethane-filled fuel tank to minimize the danger of explosion. However, the Kasaka cannot hold its own against a Harrier. It's only suitable for providing you with air support. What I'm trying to say is that it's up to you to take out the Harrier.
Right. Where do you think you're aiming? Stop messing around. You have something against us that we don't know about?
Colonel, Pliskin was Snake after all.
According to him.
What?
Listen, Raiden, I'll say it again. He is not in the simulation.
There you go about the simulation again.
Don't put your faith in him. Don't trust him. Do you understand?
You know, I thought I heard of AIM somewhere before. DIA would mean we're talking about Nastasha's ex-husband.
Nastasha? Nastasha Romanenko? Isn't she the one who wrote In the Darkness of Shadow Moses?
Yeah, she helped me out during the Shadow Moses incident. She was also actively involved in the philanthropy organization following the incident.
Where is she now?
Your guess is as good as mine, but she's probably still a heavy smoker.
So Iroquois Pliskin was an alias?
Of course.
And the rank of Lieutenant Junior grade?
Made it up.
That's just great. Anyway, I get the Pliskin part, but what about Iroquois?
Iroquois is a Frankified version of the Algonquin word for rattlesnakes. It's what they called their enemies.
Algonquin?
The Algonquin Nation, one of the many groups of Native Americans who used to call Manhattan Island their home. The majority of tribes, in what's now the state of New York, were a part of the Algonquin Nation.
So this was a stronghold of snakes.
By the way, Manhattan means Island of Hills in Algonquin.
Raiden, my sympathies. Sneaking missions are called wet words for a reason after all.
Don't worry about it, Jack. It's okay.
Rose?
That is, as long as you take a shower the second you get back.
Do we have a deal?
The Shell 2 core is where the actual filtration system resides, or at least it used to. Now it's just a shadow of its former self. Here, water mixed with crude oil was filtered using antagonist bacteria in the microbial decomposition of hydrocarbons. Below the first floor basement is a gigantic vat for this purpose. What happened was that this vat broke and flooded the floor. The first floor, which is not flooded, houses the air purification facility that eliminates the stench from the polluted water. Manhattan is right in our backyard here, you know. There's plenty of reason to be cautious.
Colonel, I want some background information on Emma Emmerich.
I've got it right here, direct from the National Security Agency's personnel files. Apparently, she was involved in some sort of high-level project, but there's no details on that. Her record shows that she resigned from the agency 2 years ago. Emma Emmerich, full name Emma Emmerich Danziger. Members of her family call her EE. After divorcing Hal Emmerich's father, her mother took Emma to England and raised her there. Danziger is her mother's maiden name, but she prefers Emmerich. After returning home to England, her mother married Robinson, a businessman. The following details are from a report filed with the NSA when she joined the agency. Just before graduating from high school, Emma injured Robinson in self-defense during an alleged assault on her person. As a result of this incident, she followed in the footsteps of her stepbrother, Hal Emmerich, and left home to enroll in Oxford. It is believed that at this particular point in her life, she was extremely angered by the fact that her brother failed to protect her. Consequently, she lost all family connections and is very resentful. She seems to believe that her brother is to blame for everything. While attending Oxford, she was noted for her success in a deciphering event sponsored by British GCHQ.
They may not be blood related, but she sure sounds like Otachan's sister.
There's more. Raiden, do you recall a certain situation that's more or less become a legend among hackers? To refresh your memory, at the time, just about all of our nation's communications and information resources were concentrated at NSA in Fort Meade. In fact, NSA's basement facility operated round the clock to amass data obtained not only from public communications, but everything from satellite to wiretap operations as well. I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that whoever controlled the NSA facility could move the world. On January 24th, in the year 2000, the facility suffered a total system shutdown for a 73-hour period.
Did they ever figure out the cause?
It's believed that a small group within the government had arranged the incident with the assistance of a notorious group of crackers. The result was a full review of NSA's safety measures, which in turn led to the decision to shift the data-gathering operations to an isolated location that would be safe from physical attack as well as cyber terrorism.
And where might that be?
My security clearance couldn't get me that information, but I did find out that one of the key members of the hacker group was none other than Emma Emmerich. Although she started off as a specialist in artificial intelligence and complex logic, Emma is now regarded as a computer genius.
That would make her a prime candidate for recruitment in the intelligence community, wouldn't it? And knowing most of the intelligence agencies, I doubt fair play was a major concern in their recruiting efforts.
Your assumption's correct. The government played on her weakness, her strong hate for Hal Emmerich, the brother who left her when she was 6 years old.
She hates him that much?
When she was 6 years old, Emma and her father were involved in a pool accident. She survived, but her father drowned.
What did the police have to say about that?
The report states it was an accidental death.
Isn't that about the time that Otachan left his home and family?
Exactly. But I don't have any idea why he chose to do so.
Does Emma blame Otachan for her father's death?
I don't think so. Her hate seems to stem from the fact that she believes Otachan abandoned her. You see, although the two weren't directly related, they were said to be very close. It's rumored that sibling rivalry was what launched her career as a hacker. 4 years ago, the government leaked her the details of the Shadow Moses incident. In doing so, they were able to recruit her for the NSA. I also have little doubt that they also used the NSA hacking affair as a means to convince her to cooperate.
You think that her hate drove her to frame Snake and Otachan?
That, I don't know.
Colonel, did you hear the truth about the Shadow Moses incident?
Yeah,
Snake wasn't a terrorist.
You look thrilled.
Huh? Yeah.
So you just believe everything that he told you then?
What did you say?
Don't trust him. He isn't in the simulation.
Simulation again. What exactly are you talking about?
Don't put your trust in him. Just carry out your duties to the best of your abilities. Do you understand, Raiden?
Colonel, why did Ocelot murder the president?
They disagreed, probably.
Exactly the same
What?
as the Shadow Moses incident.
Don't be foolish.
Are you sure about that? Aim's death, appearance of the ninja, the president's death, and now the virus.
You're reading too much into things.
That's right, Jack. You're tired.
Raiden, don't waste your time thinking unnecessary thoughts. Invest all your energy instead in carrying out your duties.
Colonel, did you find anything about the Patriots?
No, not yet.
I can't find data on them anywhere.
But the president is...
Jack, there is no data.
Colonel, you know something, don't you?
No, I don't know anything. I need a little more time.
The rumors about Big Shell being a big cover-up are all true.
Otacon?
I had Snake check everything out. Sure, there's some facilities to clean up the pollution, but they're not running at full capacity. Don't you think it's funny that even though 2 years have gone by since the incident, they haven't managed to clean up all the crude oil? Of course, the media doesn't report that kind of thing. I think they're having fresh shipments of crude oil brought in to replace the stuff they've cleaned up. The story you were told about toxic chemicals being released if the plant were blown up also seems pretty fishy. I don't think it's actually true. Information is being suppressed on a huge scale. These guys seem to think that the new Metal Gear is worth all the effort and money they're spending on it.
So I've been lied to all along.
No, I think even your CO didn't know what was going on, and that's probably what he's been telling you.
I didn't mean by the Colonel. I meant by you.
Huh? We never lied to you. We just didn't tell you everything, that's all. You know, you're a pretty interesting guy. You're just like Snake said.
What did he say?
That you're a weak, simple-minded, stubborn fool.
A weak, simple-minded...
Ah, don't worry. He didn't mean anything bad by it.
Nothing bad? Well, what could possibly be worse than that? That lying, useless, backstabbing, mincing son of a...
Raiden, I'm his friend. I know him better than anyone else. I know he's not that kind of guy.
Yeah, so what?
And, by the way, there's one more thing you should probably know about Snake.
What?
He's right here.
Next to you?
Yep,
Did he hear...
every word.
I'm just gonna get back to the mission now.
As the President mentioned, Metal Gear Ray was created as an anti-Metal Gear weapon. In the Shadow Moses incident, Ocelot returned with a disk containing data of the exercises that were held for Metal Gear Rex and the new nuclear warhead. What's more, he sold that data not only to the nuclear powers, but to other countries as well. Those nations that obtained the data have commenced their own Metal Gear research. Where does it go from here? What happens when the world is flooded with variations of Metal Gear? We'll probably be looking at an era similar to that of the nuclear arms race. That was one of the reasons we organized philanthropy. I understand that Fortune's father, Marine Commandant Scott Dolph, had the same misgivings. That's why he proceeded with the development of the anti-Metal Gear weapon, Metal Gear Ray. In fact, Ray alone can drastically redefine tactics when you consider its seafaring capacity to approach, strike, and break off from targets. I also believe that Ray was a solution for renewing interest in the Marines, whose role as a rapid response force has dwindled over the last few years. I did a quick inspection. Arsenal Gear's security system is similar to the antibiotic function of a living creature's immune system. Surveillance of the inner system is handled by periodic scans, using a number of agents with the capacity for detecting data that doesn't belong in the system. Once the agents detect any invading data, the information is passed on to an antibody production system. From there, a program referred to as an antibody agent is autonomously produced to neutralize or eliminate the invading data. Added to that, there's a solid barrier existing between GW's optic neural net, its physical and logical base, and the other general nets. Referred to as the bit-brain barrier, this wall is a filtering system for preventing the infiltration of foreign data. This security system makes it very difficult to attack the system from the outside. I'm afraid nothing can be done without sufficient preparation.
That underwater mine is believed to have built-in compound sensors for detecting acceleration speed, changes in water pressure, body temperature, and other data. A light touch will trigger one of these, so be careful.
Snake, it's Stillman. Stillman's here.
Yeah?
He was waiting for me.
Right. Be careful, Ryden. You're a dead man if you fall into the life reaction tank.
That's right. The life reaction tank cleanses polluted water with microorganisms. These organisms are activated by pumping them with large volumes of oxygen. As a result, the water's specific gravity is extremely light, making it impossible to remain afloat. Once you fall in, you'll never come up.
You can't move once his knife nails your shadow.
Shadow binding? Are we talking about some kind of ninjutsu?
I don't think so. It's probably some form of hypnotism.
Hypnotism?
I'm guessing it's the power of suggestion, augmented by his speech and movements, coupled with the manipulation of the light reflecting off the blade of his knife.
What should I do?
I can't think of any way to break his spell on such a short notice. The easiest thing to do is to make sure his knife doesn't hit your shadow.
Right. If his knife nails your shadow, you won't be able to move for a while. If this happens, your only option is to rapidly press a button and move the left stick around to free yourself from his spell.
Vamp mentioned a purified hydrogen bomb. Any idea what it is?
A purified hydrogen bomb is a nuclear weapon that doesn't use a nuclear explosion to trigger a nuclear fusion reaction. There are two theories for triggering a purified hydrogen bomb. Of the two, our nation focused its research efforts on the laser inertial compression theory. Theoretically, it's the same as laser nuclear fusion. By solidifying deuterium and tritium at an extremely low temperature to create fuel pellets and bombarding these pellets with a high-output laser, the surface of the pellets evaporate. This creates a reaction that results in the inward compression of the pellets. The center portion of the pellet reaches the necessary extreme temperature and pressure conditions for confining nuclear fusion, and thereby creating a fusion reaction. I understand that research in this area continued into the last century, but I'd heard they hit a wall when they couldn't come up with a miniature laser capable of the necessary ultra-high output. From what you tell me, I guess I'll have to assume they overcame that problem.
Right. That skull suit of yours is designed to minimize drag when you're underwater. Try feeling the suit's skin.
Sort of sandpapery.
What you're feeling is a series of microscopic grooves. This water-repelling scale structure cancels out the force of the currents. The suit cuts drag by a full 10%. You'll be swimming like a fish. The technology is extrapolated from the structure of shark skin. The concavity of the skin surface is designed to cut down on air drag on dry land as well. Same idea as the surface of golf balls, but improved upon.
Sounds good. I think I'm ready for the Olympics.
Jack? Jack?
Oh, Rose, is that you? What's up?
What's up? You were looking for a pretty long time. Something catch your eye?
No, just, scouting for the enemy.
Somehow I have a hard time believing you.
Enough. Hurry up and return to the mission at hand. Ryden, how's Emma doing?
She's pretty shaky on her feet. Whatever Ocelot drugged her with, it's still having an effect on her.
Poor thing. Look after her, okay?
I'll try.
She can't even walk by herself because of the drugs in her system. See how she has to sit down when you let go of her hand? If you have to release her hand, make sure she's somewhere safe. Don't let her go in sight of the enemy. If Emma loses consciousness, drag her just like you drag the enemy's body around.
Unconscious, huh?
Jack, what's up with you?
Oh, nothing.
Don't leave Emma in an unsafe spot when she's unconscious. Drag her if you have to, but get her to safety.
Okay, Ryden, let me talk to Emma.
Sure. One condition. No arguing.
No problem. Put her on. EE, is that you?
Yes? What do you want?
Why did you get involved in weapons development? A lot of people will get hurt. Even more will die. I'm talking about the destruction of homes and cities, radioactive contamination for years to come. You, of all people, should know the horror of nuclear weapons. You know about our family's dark history. Why, EE, why?
You left me. You made my life a living hell.
I didn't have a choice.
Don't lie to me. The pool, you could never look me in the eye after the accident. You took the easy way out so you wouldn't have to face me. That way you could avoid responsibility every day. You ran. You ran away so you wouldn't have to face the pain.
No, that's not why I left.
You left me and took the easy way out.
That's not true. I left the house because...
You're a criminal, just like me.
A criminal?
I know what you did. You manipulated our account on the network.
But...
Look at what you're doing now. You're nothing but a cracker.
No, I'm just applying my knowledge for the cause.
The cause? What cause? Justice?
For peace, EE. I'm not like Snake. I can't carry a gun and face the enemy. That's why I do what I do best.
Oh, right. Nice justification, Hal. Forget about being a criminal. You'd make a great lawyer.
All right already. That's enough. What's up, Raiden?
Out of my way. Let me talk.
You want to talk to Otacon?
Yes.
I'll put him on.
Yeah? What is it?
Up to now, scientists have continued to be active participants in war. What's your opinion?
There's no doubt that war has been an ideal event that fuels the progress of science. But therein lies the trap. We scientists must establish some form of work ethic. It's a tragedy that both the government and the military act as sponsors to modern science.
What are you talking about? The atom and hydrogen bombs were born from laboratories owned and operated by universities and private enterprises. Los Alamos and the Lawrence Livermore labs were run by universities. There's nothing strange about that.
Weapons development and universities. This may come as a surprise, but science requires that information be exchanged freely.
You're referring to the will of Professor Oppenheimer, aren't you?
For me, science and weapons always existed at different levels. I never thought that my research results would bring about misfortune to others. That was until the Shadow Moses incident.
I have no regrets.
That's where you're wrong. We scientists know the dangers of a nuclear threat. It's up to us to protect the people. We can't allow it to be exploited by nations or their politics. Man and nuclear weapons cannot coexist. Mere mortals were never meant to handle nuclear fusion.
Science defines me. My government respects me. Can you tell me what's wrong with that? Can you?
Okay, that's enough.
What do you think you're doing? That hurt! I don't think I like you. You suck!
What do you think you're doing to her?
You perv! Unbelievable! What do you think you're doing at a time like this? Keep your hands to yourself! Excuse me, can I make an observation?
Sure.
You are worthless. What is wrong with you? You suck, you know that? No! I don't want to do this. Please, don't! How? Oh, Venus and Cancer.
Emma, this is about GW, but is it really possible to automate the scale of censorship? Do we have that kind of computing capability?
Of course we do. And it would be impossible to do this unless it was automated. There's too much information for human beings to handle. Let's take your specialty, military operation, as an example, shall we? The U.S. military began to aggressively adopt the digital model in both combat and daily operations at the turn of the century.
That's true. Battlefield networking, the revolution in military affairs, and of course, the VR training regimen. Information is the deciding factor in the outcome of conflicts. It's because of that reality that the military's invested trillions of dollars in high-tech weapons and equipment. There's no night or day in war or information.
Right, 24/7. There's nothing that we couldn't see through electronic eyes and ears.
And that's what gave us the capability to collect, analyze, and understand tactical data in real time?
No, just the opposite. What we ended up with was too huge a load. We knew literally everything, from the position of every platoon on both sides to the number of clips every infantryman had left. As a result, nobody could figure out what the big picture meant. Not even the most experienced and skilled general could, because we're flesh and blood.
Humans can't adapt to the information age. Is that it?
Basically. No human being can make an intelligent command decision in the information overload of digitized wars. So R&D into computerized systems to assist in the process was initiated. The Defense Department tested a large-scale AI-driven system for troop logistics during the Gulf War. Apparently, they got the results they were looking for.
And you're saying that worldwide information censorship can be performed the same way?
Yes, it's possible given GW's capabilities. Do you get it?
Emma's terrified of the sea lice. She won't move.
I sympathize. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near those things either.
But we can't exactly sit here. Arsenal gear's about to go online.
Raiden, you'll have to get through there even if it means forcing her to move. I know it seems cruel.
Raiden, I may have to sign off for a while.
Anything wrong?
Just a small errand. Don't worry about it.
What's it about?
Here goes. I'm going offline.
Hey! Are you trying to kill me? Did you have to shoot me, of all things? Do you really hate me that much? I am sick of this! Oh, I'm almost gone. Do something. Hey, are you taking this seriously?
Emma, about what you said behind that column there.
Huh? What are you talking about?
Can I just say something?
Sure.
This is my real hair, okay?
Of course. As if I said anything about that.
Raiden, watch where you're aiming. Raiden, what are you aiming at? Cover Emma. That's a pretty good shot, kid. Now how about aiming at the enemy?
How's Emma doing?
Not very good. I can't do a detailed examination here, but it looks like the damage to her muscle tissue is equal to the actual size of the wound.
What are you trying to say?
That there's the possibility of intestinal damage. Added to that, she's bleeding bad, losing blood pressure. She needs abdominal surgery, but this ain't the place to do it. I've plugged the wound as best I can, but it isn't going to be enough. She's running out of time. We have to hurry.
Raiden, I asked EE about the disk you have in your possession. Basically, it's a set of computer worm programs. Each worm is structured to mimic the data units that compose GW. As a result, GW scan agents are unable to detect the program. In short, the program doesn't trigger GW's antibody production system. What's more, the program can penetrate the bit-brain barrier that surrounds GW. Once the worm program enters the neural net, it transforms the surrounding neurons. The transformed neurons become solid and can no longer function as neural nets. As time passes, the neurons transform and perish, stripping the overall system of its power to define and comprehend data. This in turn causes language disorder and memory loss, leading to the shutdown of functions as the system becomes unable to maintain itself.
Raiden, do you actually enjoy abusing helpless animals?
I don't believe this. I had no idea you were that kind of a monster.
I don't understand you, Raiden. If you're satisfied, get back to the mission. Raiden, you won't be able to hang, throw, or chokehold anyone in your current state.
Why not?
Is it really necessary to ask? It's just not a good idea to perform those maneuvers. There could be complications.
Oh, really, Jack? Do we have to spell it out for you? Really?
Colonel, is this?
Right. The famous mass production Metal Gear. That entire section seems to house a maintenance line for Metal Gears.
Jack.
I'm all right.
Those mass production Metal Gears are in adjustment phase. They're not a threat. But it's entirely possible that there's an operational Metal Gear somewhere ahead. Stay focused. Raiden, be on the lookout. Those soldiers are outfitted with special gear.
Roger. Armed with what?
Probably arsenal gear equipment called Tengu. The suits use exoskeleton technology to augment human strength and improve mobility with artificial muscles. Not the kind of opponent you want to take on without your weapon or other equipment. You'll just have to move about without being seen. Understood? Raiden, temperatures in that area appear to be real low.
Yeah, just like a refrigerator.
Maybe to keep GW frozen. High temperatures are forbidden for fiber optic neural AI processors.
Don't catch a cold.
Metal Gear Ray was originally designed by the Marines as a countermeasure against other Metal Gear variations. But the mass-produced model is only based on the Marines' design. It's been redesigned to guard Arsenal Gear. Now it protects another Metal Gear. I heard all this from Emma. It seems that the mass production model Metal Gear Rays have cooperative engagement capability, with GW as the primary control system. Several Rays can connect with Arsenal Gear and mutually exchange data. Within this unified domain, all Rays can cooperatively manage threats through notification, pursuit, and interception, all in a lifelike manner. All for one and one for all. There's no weak spot. When protected by a pack of Rays, Arsenal Gear can move without cruisers or destroyers as escorts. Those mass production model Metal Gear Rays look like they're being serviced. I don't think they can move. Keep going. Tengu soldiers carry the P-90 personal defense weapon. It lies somewhere in between a rifle and a pistol. The designers of the P-90 and its ammunition focused on the convenience of a pistol and the penetrating power of a rifle. It fires the new 5.7 by 28mm cartridge. The lightweight rounds feature a projectile weight of 2.02 grams and a muzzle velocity of 715 meters per second and low recoil. Its piercing power is also quite high. It can penetrate an ordinary bulletproof vest at a distance of 100 meters. The body is made entirely of plastic and perfectly symmetrical, so even left-handed shooters can easily use it. It carries a 50-round magazine. The magazine is mounted on top, so it doesn't get in the way when firing from a prone position. But the biggest threats are its rapid firing rate and its accuracy. It's probably best to avoid a full frontal assault. If you use the blade to defend yourself, you should be able to deflect even the attacks of the P-90. Tengu soldiers wear a special kind of combat suit that was developed by DARPA. It seems to utilize some kind of exoskeletal technology. The suit encases the soldier in a layer of armor and is outfitted with actuators which utilize artificial muscle tissue to amplify the soldier's strength and increase his chances of survival. Using the human strength amplification provided by the artificial muscle, a soldier can move faster, travel farther, and carry heavier weapons than normal. In other words, he has superior scouting and combat abilities and can basically dominate the battlefield. Any soldiers you face who are wearing this special kind of suit will be able to move with superhuman agility. Make sure you're prepared.
Have you found out anything about the Colonel yet? His behavior is getting stranger and stranger.
Nope, nothing yet. Just give me a little more time. The engine system of Metal Gear Ray appears to be outfitted with artificial muscle tissue. The artificial muscle consists of actuators that resemble human muscle tissue. It's made of a macromolecular fiber that conducts electricity. This system is different from ordinary engines based on mechanical activators and oil pressure. It's capable of many different kinds of movement using a single kind of engine. In other words, it's capable of performing a complex series of motions smoothly and effortlessly. Ray's movements are both quick and precise. Be careful. Ray's armor is made of a state-of-the-art ceramic titanium alloy. A network of simple sensor arrays stretches around the body, including conductive nanotubes that connect the surface and the interior of the armor. When the condition of the armor changes, self-diagnostic systems located throughout the armor detect and respond to this change, like a network of autonomic reflex nerves. This acts as a damage control response system, performing functions such as shutting down a damaged section or rerouting signals through auxiliary circuits. At the same time, any holes and tears in the armor are repaired to some degree by a kind of nanopaste that's secreted automatically from valves near the damaged area. This nanopaste almost makes Ray seem like it's bleeding. You probably won't be able to pierce Ray's armor with the weapons you're carrying. You'll have to aim for the head, where the armor is relatively thin. Aim for the head using Stinger missiles. The power suit that Solidus is wearing is a state-of-the-art exoskeleton that makes use of artificial muscle tissue. It gives the person wearing it superhuman motor skill capabilities. It's the same technology used in Ray's engine system and the Tengu soldiers' combat suits. Your skull suit uses a little bit of it too. A number of sensors stretch between the surface and interior of the suit like a neural network. When these sensors detect an impact, the artificial muscle in the suit reacts instantaneously by automatically contracting and diffusing the damage. So you can't just chop him in half with your sword. Your suit uses the same technology. You could almost say that your suit, Solidus' suit, and Metal Gear Ray are like brothers.